Hi everybody, Jillian here. Welcome back to my channel for a new Bible journaling process video. Today I'm going to be using the How He Loves devotional from Illustrated Faith and Dayspring that was written by Stephanie Bice, and I'm super excited to use this. This one quote from the devotional has really stood out to me for several days, and I just kind of like keep rolling this phrase over in my mind, and I wanted to put it in my Bible because it's kind of a different way of thinking about a verse from the Sermon on the Mount that we've all heard so many times. There are even songs that are sung on the radio about it. The way that Stephanie just kind of summed it up in this one phrase was just something I hadn't heard before, and it was something that I definitely wanted to document in my Bible so that I wouldn't forget it. So really quick, what I'm going to be using today, I have the devotional here. I did an unboxing video of what comes in the entire devotional kit. I'll link that if you guys want to check that out. I'm going to be using the stamp set from the devotional. This is just a quick look at what it looks like. I've got a library card holder here. So I ordered these to create my advent calendar for this year, actually my first advent calendar ever, and I have 50 of them. I'm only going to use 25, and so I thought it would be fun to try and incorporate this as a pocket into my Bible. This is one of the cut-aparts from the devotional kit, a piece of vellum. I've got some paints that match the colors in the kit here. I've got some washi tape to adhere the pocket into my Bible, an ink pad, roller date stamp, an acrylic block that's very messy for the stamps. I actually have ordered a new one, and I'm excited to get that and to kind of retire this one because it's so messy, and I'm vowing to take better care of the next one. I've got this sponge dauber thing. I got it in a multi-pack, I think in the kids craft section at Hobby Lobby, and then my paint palette here. So I'm going to be in Matthew 6:26 today, and that is the part in the Sermon on the Mount where Jesus is telling us not to worry. That verse is over here. I've already journaled something on this side, and so I'm just gonna simply put it over here. It's not a big deal for me to go ahead and put entries that are on a different page from the verse. There's just so much happening on these few pages. These are all entries from the Sermon on the Mount. And it obviously does not take up 5 pages in the Bible, so I've kind of like had to move around and accommodate the entries a little more cleverly, I guess. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on fast forward and get started. Now that I've got the basics of the page figured out, I'm going to go ahead and dump out the rest of the cut apart pieces that come with this devotional kit and look to see if there are any little bits or pieces that I want to add to the library card pocket. So these are all just pieces that come inside the stamp backer of the devotional kit that you would cut out and just use throughout your Bible journaling entries. So I know that I want to include a tab on the top of this card here, but I'm not sure which one. I really like the one that has the sentiment "He knows" on there, since God absolutely knows what we need, but it looks like it's going to be a game time decision for me. In the meantime, I went ahead and took a piece of vellum that I had pre-cut and I stapled it using my tiny attacher to that piece of the cut apart. That's one of my favorite things to do in regular scrapbooking is take a piece of vellum and cut it down a little bit smaller than the piece of pattern paper or journaling card that I want to use so that I can still use the pattern that I love but be able to see the journaling that I write on top of it. And I always use the tiny attacher to just staple that on there and then, draw some lines and journal. Now I'm using this big foam dauber thing, and I want to stamp these 3 colors in 3 different places on the card. And I want each one of them to go off the edge. So you can see here I just pulled a piece of paper from a notebook and used that to mask off the flap. And in between each color here, I am cleaning the sponge off as best I can with a baby wipe and getting paint all over the place. And this Bible mat is coming in very handy right now, so I can not mess up the surface of my desk and just instead get paint all over that. So I'm going to leave that to the side to dry, and then I'm going to go ahead and figure out which tab I want to use. I decided to go ahead and use the black and white tab because I feel like it contrasted really well with the card. And I just simply used my tape runner to glue that onto the back of the card. I looked through the devotional booklet there to get the exact phrase that I want, or the exact quote that I want, written down on here. I drew some journaling lines with my journaling pen, and the quote that I journaled says, "Life is too short and God is too powerful for us to worry." And when I read that, I hadn't really heard this part of the Sermon on the Mount kind of summarized like that. So while I'm staging the stamps on this pocket and trying to figure out where they're going to go, I'm going to share with you guys a quick little story from my Sunday school class. I have a 5th grader in my class who hadn't been coming for a while, and then she came back the week before school started. And we were just starting a new unit on the Sermon on the Mount, and the very first lesson was this, Jesus telling his disciples and the people who had followed him to hear him speak about not worrying about what you'll eat or drink or what you'll wear, because God is going to provide for you. And this girl, she was going into the 5th grade, and she had a lot of things up in the air. Like where was she going to be living next week? Where would she be going to school? If she went to a new school, would she make new friends there? And she was really stressed out about this. And so as we go through the lesson, we start talking a little more candidly, and I said to her, "Isn't it so amazing that you came back this Sunday to hear this message?" I said, "I confidently believe," and I said her name, "that God brought you back to church, to our class, to hear this lesson." I said, "I think He cares so much about you and so much about these things that are stressing you out and that you're worrying about, that He brought you to this class to let you know that you don't have to worry about it, that He's going to take care of where you're going to live. He's going to take care of where you're going to school." And I kind of just saw this burden being lifted from her shoulders, and she was kind of nodding along. Yeah, yeah. And she started to just, I could see her relax, and it was so amazing. Not only do I know that God is going to provide for us those physical needs, but He'll also remind us of those promises that He's made to us right when we need to hear them most. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. My entry, I hope, was pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to slip the card back into the pocket and call it done. Here is a finished look at my project along with a couple of close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching and for allowing me to share. I love making these videos to share with you. Be sure to tune in next Wednesday for a new Bible journaling process video, and subscribe if you haven't already. See you next week.